Hello everyone and welcome back. Huge day tomorrow for Newcastle United. I cannot wait for this Brentford match. If we win, we're guaranteed top 7 football and we'll be guaranteed Conference League football as long as Manchester City beats Manchester United in the FA Cup final. We don't need to worry about Man U's game tomorrow. We do our job on the pitch. We get 3 points. We are guaranteed top 7. It's in our hands. We can still do this. It's only out of our hands if Man U win the FA Cup final. But let's force them to do that. Let's make sure they've actually got to do that if they want to get any form of European football next season. It's been a bad week. But let's be honest, as fans, I'm going to put my hand up and admit it now. If you had told me around Christmas time we would get Conference League football, would you take it? Based on this season, based on all the good memories we had this season, yes, we would. I would 100% take that now. I've seen some Newcastle fans are actually against Conference League football, saying it's not a big competition, it's not worth our time. But, I mean, let's be honest. One, we haven't won any trophies in, 60 years now. It's been a long, long time since we've actually won something. Secondly, if you actually look at the Champions League revenue this season, Newcastle United made £34 million from going out of the group stage. Now, yes, it's true, in the Conference you would earn less money. However, you expect to get further in the competition. So Newcastle are expecting semi-finals, if not the final. And then you're probably earning more money over the course of the season, not mentioned as well. You win the Conference League, you go straight into the Europa League, and you don't have to worry about the league if you're able to do that. But for me, it's huge. It's not just huge for revenue as well, it's also huge for keeping your top players. So my personal opinion, Conference League football is a must. We've got the opportunity to do that. Let's make sure we go out there and do that tomorrow. I've got a story to tell you first though. So if any of you have been able to figure out where I am in the background, so I've just completed a half marathon in a place called Dricourt Water. Fair enough if any of you actually know where that is in the UK, but I'm assuming for most of you haven't got a clue. So in terms of geography, it's actually just below Coventry. That's the closest major city to Dricourt Water. So I've just done a half marathon here. Now the reason why I've just told you all that information is because I do have quite a frustrating story actually. So I've turned up here, okay, about 9 in the morning. I've got my Newcastle shirt on, of course, as you can see. I'm ready to go in the race. I'm ready to get some running done. And straight away, if you ever done any of these public races before, you know that basically an announcer. So this guy's essentially there to promote the race, to boost everyone's morale up and just to make sure everyone enjoys themselves. Now, I've just turned up this race, right? And this guy in the microphone straight away, oh, look everyone, there's a Newcastle United fan there. Okay, guess what he says next? He wouldn't have been wearing that shirt 5 years ago. Excuse me, who are you talking to? You know what I mean? Honestly, I was actually rattled by it. You must think I'm like from this area. I'm just like a massive glory hunter. I've just started supporting Newcastle because of the takeover. Listen, I was wearing this 15 years ago, mate. I haven't just started turning up after the takeover, but I couldn't quite believe that. I was actually rattled by it. But yeah, so some guy just thought I was a massive glory hunter. I knew he was announcing it in the before the race started, but I thought I'd bring it up anyway. I don't know if any of you guys have any that situation where you're down in the country and people start believing that you're obviously a massive glory hunter. You start to jump on this bandwagon after the takeover. But I was here before. A lot of you guys were here before as well. We all know where we were before the takeover. But at stage now where people think we're these horrible glory hunters. But back on topic to the video, we do have quite a lot of news to get into. So if you guys are new around here, get down here, hit that subscribe button. Of course, vlog will be out tomorrow. And then straight away, flying on a plane to Melbourne, Australia. So there will be a video pre-recorded while I'm on the plane. So there still will be content coming on my YouTube. It'll just be pre-recorded because obviously I'm on a 24-hour flight. Excited though. I'm dreading that flight, however, if we lose tomorrow. If we lose, that is going to be a painful journey for Newcastle, so we've got to make sure we get that job done. But as for news, there's quite a lot going on with Ramsdale. Updates on Callum Wilson, transfer scenarios, situations, there was all sorts going on. So enough beating around the bush, let's get into things. Let's start things off where we finished off in the last video. Let's start by talking about Callum Wilson. And I want to show you an interesting tweet that was actually put out by Dominic where he's went through Newcastle's injuries this season and how long players have actually missed games for. So this is any player that has missed over 10 games and it goes down every 10 matches. Straight away, I'm pointing fingers at the likes of Callum Wilson, Joe Willett, Matt Target, any player that has picked up frequent injuries now, the likes of Joe Willett and Pope, Barnes with that broken toe. When players pick up, obviously an unlucky injury, it's kept them out for a long stretch of time, fair enough. But when it's frequent, Wilson shoulder, Wilson hamstring, Willock, he's had all sorts of issues. When it's regular injuries, you've got to look at these players straight away and go, you out. And these are players that Newcastle will look to get shot off, because if you're missing over 20 matches in a season, you've got issues there. And unless it's a serious injury again, like a dislocated shoulder, Nick Pope, if it's 2 or 3 injuries and you're missing that much time, you can't keep these players. A massive liability. And when you got like Callum Wilson, where there was so much speculation going on with him. I know Eddie Howe said in his press conference yesterday that Wilson is expected to play on Sunday. When we say the words expected, we'll see if the bloody guy turns up or not now. It's going to be interesting to see as well, because basically whoever's in Newcastle's team tomorrow will more than likely have to fly to Australia afterwards. So in Wilson's case, if the guy doesn't want to go to Australia, he probably won't play tomorrow. So unless there's a way where the player's been able to tell the club, I can't do the Australia trip, everyone that's playing tomorrow will fly straight after the game. So it's going to be fascinating to see what players don't fly over, and I think it will give you quite a clear indication on what players will stay and what players leave. If players aren't committed, if players don't want to stay past the summer, they won't go on this Australia trip. And Wilson's one I'm looking at straight away. So listen, we'll give the guy the benefit of the doubt. We'll see if he's playing tomorrow. We'll see if he makes the Australia trip tomorrow. But keep an eye on it. If he's not doing either, 100% he's going, like literally 100%. It's such a shame the way the guy's career has kind of come to an end. He's done quite a lot for Newcastle. He's our second highest goal scorer in history. He's a player that I do generally like. He always comes across as quite a professional player, but over the past couple of weeks, it's completely went the opposite way. So let's see what happens first before we continue speculating any further. However, if he is not in the team tomorrow, there's only one place he can go for me, and that is straight out the door. Let's talk about Aaron Ramsdale yet, because it's all of a sudden over the past 24 hours, like so much has happened with this guy. So it began on the likes of Sky Sports and quite top credible sources coming out and saying that Newcastle have agreed the deal to actually sign Aaron Ramsdale from Arsenal. You've got all sorts of journalists coming out and just speaking about how this deal is looking quite good for us. Now all of a sudden, Aaron Ramsdale puts a tweet out with his laughing emoji saying it's the first I've heard of it. So obviously he's just denying everything straight away. So must be thinking, well, you know what, Adam? Okay, it's happened from the journalists. Ramsdale's responding and basically just rubbed it off. What else is there to us? Today, well, journalists are continuing to back themselves. They're continuing to say Newcastle are actually going in for this guy. Newcastle are putting the deal in. Luke Edwards, about 1 hour after Aaron Ramsdale put that tweet out, it puts an article out and just says how Newcastle are still going in for the player. Journalists are backing themselves. They have been taught some big information, or all just completely wrong. But I thought we'd talk about it because it is kind of fascinating now. I had a chance actually a couple of weeks ago, so I was asked on the Tomb Review to actually just basically put across my personal transfer targets, what players I would like Newcastle to get. Now, I purposely in quite English mode in just terms of getting players that have Premier League experience and just English players. Eddie Howe would tend to aim for quite a few English ones. Aaron Ramsdale was actually my goalkeeper choice, but I didn't think it was realistic, because my issue being is that Aaron Ramsdale is only going to go to a football club that offers him number one. In Newcastle's case, Nick Pope and Ramsdale will be 2 class goalkeepers, but both of them want to be number one. There's no way Ramsdale is joining unless he's guaranteed number one. So in Eddie Howe's mind, basically has to confirm that Ramsdale is going to be number one, which I think you could do, because it's a shame with Nick Pope, but his injury, of course, is a dislocated shoulder, which is quite bad in a goalkeeper. Straight away, you can probably expect his form to regress a little, but even when he's diving down for the ball, he probably won't be as quick as he used to be, or he might feel a bit off going down for some shots. So Ramsdale is quite a fascinating choice, because around £15 million, would you take Ramsdale for that much? I would. I think he's a top goalkeeper. I love watching Ramsdale play. It's a bit of a shame how he isn't getting that game time at Arsenal, but we know he's leaving the football club now. For me, if there's some way we can get them both to work with each other, get them both in the team, I think it's a top replacement on the likes of Brentford and Callum. I mean, this guy is so much better than them. So we'll see how this one transpires. If I had to bank on it, I don't think it's going to happen unless Ramsdale is 100% first choice. So unless Pope is happy dropping down, which I can't imagine he would be, Ramsdale for me just won't join Newcastle unless he's 100% guaranteed that top spot in the club. Let's finish the video off by talking about Eddie Howe's press conference and what he actually said when he got questioned about the summer transfer window. What does Eddie Howe think will happen in the summer? Now, of course, in typical Howe fashion, he hasn't gave too much away, but I think there's a little indication there of the new structure and the new plan that Newcastle is actually going down, and based on the transfer news so far, there's quite a lot of evidence behind it. Eddie Howe has said that he's not sure on the prices or what's going to happen in terms of players coming in, players going out, which, I mean, based on FFP and when you hear everything about PSR, you agree with. And then you see the transfer news straight away, Newcastle targeting the likes of Lloyd Kelly, of course, Tosin Adebayo, McCarthy from Southampton, just free signing. And I think that's the structure Newcastle is going to go down. I would probably predict this to potentially get 2, 3, 4 players who don't want to go crazy with it. Just bringing in players when their contracts expire, or just bringing players in on a free signing. Not spending any money straight away, so Newcastle has that squad in place. And then, once you get the free signs and you'll start to sell up the bits that you don't need, and then when you pump the big key money in and getting your top level players, your players like you always say, like your top level players that are going to transform the way the club plays. But for now, based on the evidence you see in Eddie Howe's comments there, I think we'll go down that pathway. It's going to be a few free signs. You look at how things look in the club. Then players who either A, want to go out the club, or B, Newcastle needs to offload to get some player sales in. The club will sell, and then the club will start to buy again. So the club will go back out, and that's when you'll see the big key hitters come into the club. It's an interesting strategy to go down. Of course, with the Euros and the Copa America on, it makes things a bit awkward. So free signings first. The Euros being on, that's when you can potentially look at player sales or just the strategy and look through what options the club has. And then when the Euros is over, players that are still fit, not injured, you start to sign your top players. So it sounds logical, sounds like what Newcastle are going to do. And based on Eddie Howe's comments, he hasn't gave much away, but I think he's probably gave enough where you can kind of see the club is actually going to follow what has been reported and proclaimed on social media so far. So what do you think about that? Do you think that's the correct strategy to do? Do you think Newcastle should be going out guns blazing straight away? Or do you think it's a calmer, more steady approach where you just get squad depth in first and then you go for key hitters as the transfer window progresses? So see how things finish off. But listen, guys, I'm gonna have to talk about it one more time. Tomorrow, Brentford away. Has to be 3 points. I can't stress it. And if we lose, we better bloody pray Brighton beat Man U. We've got to do our job, though. We do not want to rely on that. Even if it happens, let's say Newcastle lose to Brentford and then Brighton beat Man U and we get top 7 based on that, it won't feel like a victory, really. It won't feel like we've accomplished something. It'll feel such a deflating week. And based on how the last couple of months have been, Newcastle got back into the flow of things. So we shouldn't be feeling that way. I want the players to be happy going to Australia. I want them to enjoy themselves on that flight and just know that, yes, you've got a couple of matches coming up, which is not going to be ideal for them, but just know that, you know what, top 7, if things go against us in the FA Cup final, hold their hands and go, well, we'll accept it for what it is. But I want those players to be happy in that playing. I don't want to be pissed off and angry with themselves because of the way that Brentford games went. So let's just make sure we do our job, and what will be, do our job. We've got no issues. However, our issues will occur if we don't do our job. So let's see how the game goes. I'm expecting 3 points. We've got to turn up. No excuses now. Our team's here. We're ready and raring to go. Let's get out there, get those 3 points, and let's make sure when we go to Australia, we're going there in a good mood. Enjoy it, guys. See you all tomorrow for what is going to be a huge game.